We welcome you into Week 10 of the Ken Sparks Show. I'm the voice of the Eagles, Adam Cavalier, alongside Carson-Newman head football coach Ken Sparks, as the Eagles pick up a mammoth 52-31 home victory over number 21 Newberry. Ken,
10 weeks?
10 weeks of this. Wow. You believe that?
Wow, it don't seem right, does it? Good gracious.
Turn around twice, and here we are with the second to last show of the regular season. But
you look a lot older, and your beard, you know.
I'm a lot grayer too, because each. No comment on who's causing that.
I know. I hush right
now. No gray hair though yesterday. A no doubter of a win over Newberry. You scoot out to a 35-0 lead, and then stiff arm the Wolves for the win. What was the key turning around from a shocker loss to LR, especially the way you lost, to really complete 180 in the win over Newberry?
Well, I think we had a determined group of guys, and I think it was one of the best times that we've executed a game plan. And you know, we had coaches did a good job putting a plan together, and the kids bought in and executed it, and it was a good. Here's a great start. You know, defense scored, offense scored. You know, anytime you get that combination going, then usually good things happen.
You start the game atypically, though, of what we usually see Carson-Newman do. Your first drive, you usually score. That's not unusual, but usually it's a quick little 90-second drive. You're roaring out of the gate. This time it was a methodical 15-play, 80-yard drive that took nearly 7 minutes off the clock. Was that intentional to try to start out that methodically?
It was intentional to get the ball in the end zone, and we don't care how we do it, as long as we do it. And that was a great, determined drive, and kids did a tremendous job of executing. And I think we had to overcome a couple of third downs in that, but it was pretty good, and mixed the run and pass very well, and that's something that we have been determined to do. And then, you know, it takes all 11 people to execute a game plan, especially in the passing game, because pass protection is so critical. And if you don't protect the thrower, then the thrower can't throw it. And if the receivers don't have time to execute their patterns and run good patterns where they get open, then, you know, and then the thrower's got to do a great job of reading his progressions and get the ball out of his hand. So that combination, I thought, run and pass was really good for us in the first half Saturday.
Carson-Newman picks up the big victory over Newberry, 52-31. When we come back on the Ken Sparks Show, we break down the first half. That's after this. Back on the Ken Sparks Show as Carson-Newman hauls in a 52-31 victory over Newberry. Major implications in the Super Region 2 rankings as the Eagles fell the number 2 Wolves. Carson-Newman was 8th in the last iteration of that regional poll. Ken, you talked about heart power quite a bit after the game in your post-game interview. How much did that victory over Newberry exemplify that?
Well, I thought, you know, we've had high expectations for ourselves, and we've had some major disappointments, and we haven't lived up those expectations. And so I thought Saturday was a very positive step to get the hope back, to get the excitement back about reaching our goals, and being the kind of team that we really think that we can be. And there was times Saturday we were a good football team. And then there was times Saturday that we weren't a very good football team. And so it's still, you know, it's still a little bit of this. But the lows weren't as low Saturday. Yeah. And so that was, except the fumble in the end zone, to give up a touchdown. And, you know, we turned the ball over some. The ball was rattling around on us Saturday, and we got to eliminate the rattle.
And it rattling around in a different kind of way. I can't think of a time where running backs have fumbled it on multiple occasions.
Yeah. And of course, you know, there's a lot involved in that too. The offensive line's got to stop penetration. The quarterback's got to execute his steps and his execution. And so, you know, it's not just one person. But it was ugly at times Saturday, and we got to work on that. But Coach Mac Lambert and Coach Nick Rivets will be on that and quick this week, so we'll get it done.
DeAndre Thomas completes his first 7 passes. You brought up mixing in the pass with the run. What enabled you to do that?
Well, execution again. It's easy to call them. The hard part is to get it executed, and I thought Coach Turner did a great job mixing it, and you know, we got some good help and some eyes in the press box, and some guys that believe it, we can throw it, and some guys that you know, even the running backs want us to throw it because it keeps those guys from coming up there and being a linebacker out of the safety position. So we slowed that down real quick because that was the plan that Newberry had, and we were able to slow that process down and be able to run the ball against 7 people instead of run the ball against 9 people, and that made a difference.
Eagles up big at the break, and we take a look at the first half highlights.
Left hash. 2nd and goal from the Newberry 9. Thomas under center, split backfield. Eagles have Thomas keeping it left side. Thomas fighting to the 5, reaching to the goal line. He gets there. Touchdown, Carson-Newman. DeAndre Thomas, the option keeper, around the left side, got caught at the 3, but DeAndre Thomas twisting, turning, fighting, clawing to get his way into the end zone for the first drive. 15 plays, 80 yards in 5 minutes, 51 seconds. Here's 3rd and 6 for the Wolves from the right hash at their own 44. Merton's in the gun with 3 wide. Merton back to pass. Comeback route near side, complete to Livingston. He drops the football, and it's picked up by an Eagle. Javaris Neal recovers the fumble at the 40 and takes a knee. Livingston, ball just shot out of his breadbasket. And Javaris Neal, who hadn't given up on the play and was just coming in to assist with a tackle, is able to pile on. 3rd down, a few to go. 3 to go from the Newberry 33. Ball on the right hash, Eagles ahead 7-0. Trying to take advantage of a turnover. 3 wide set for the Eagles, 2 out wide left, 1 to the short side right, split backfield. Thomas takes the snap. He'll give on a right side dive. Brandon Baker. Baker through the line of scrimmage. Nobody in front of them. Baker will strike for 6. Touchdown, Carson-Newman. A gaping hole for Brandon Baker, and he takes it in from 33 yards out. The Eagles have a 13-0 lead. Eagles with a split backfield and a wide out each way. Ball's on the right hash. Wide side is to the left. Thomas under center. Takes the snap, fakes the dive. He'll throw. Quick slant. Walker complete at the 10. Walker reaching for the end zone. He gets there. Touchdown, Carson-Newman. Luther Walker ran past Bryce Green along the right side hashes and was able to topple into the end zone for 6. 20-0. The Eagles on top with a $1:52 left in the first quarter. 10 from its own 19-yard line. Again, an H-back to the right of the line. Shotgun look for Merton with a tailback to his left. That's Elmore. A Barnwell mishandled the snap. The ball is loose in the end zone. Carson-Newman has 3 men there, and 1 falls on it. Touchdown, Carson-Newman. Jacob Coleman captures it at the back of the end zone on top of the A. And the coaches to our left going bonkers. Who can blame them? Barnwell mishandled the exchange from Merton. The ball shot loose.
Those are the first half highlights as Carson-Newman picks up a victory over Newberry on Senior Day. I'm Adam Cavalier alongside Ken Sparks. Ken, Senior Day for your Eagles, you honor a group who
25 of them.
Yeah, weathered a bit of a storm, but the last 2 years have been sensational.
Yes, and a good group of youngins. They're hard to coach sometimes, but they're fun. You know, they really are. They're fun to be around because their stiff-neckedness sometimes is what makes them so teachable when they do. You know, when they are humble and pliable in the Lord's hands, and it's you know, some of them are going to be really big difference makers in this world. There's not any question about it, and that's what we aim for. That's what we challenge them to do. You know, is to go make a difference. You know, in a culturally crazy world that that without the light and the salt that comes from a relationship with Christ. There's no hope. And so we're excited about the hope that they bring to our world, and can't wait to see what all is going to happen with them.
In large part, the seniors caused Newberry devoid of hope in the second half, and we take a look at the second half when we get back after this on the Ken Sparks Show. Back on the Ken Sparks Show as the Eagles pick up a big win over the Newberry Wolves, 52-31 at Berktar Stadium. I'm Adam Cavalier alongside the Eagles head man, Ken Sparks. Ken, second half, you take a 21-point lead into the locker room, and you end up winning by 21 points. And what seals the deal? A Javaris Neal 42-yard pick six. Somehow the D lineman's second interception of the season.
And that's something. And tipped another one to get a third one.
Yeah. What more can you say about the way that things are going for you than when Big 91 rumbles 42 yards for a score?
It was fun to watch, and it was kind of funny. The series before, I think we gave up a touchdown, and so I was fussing. I was over there fussing, and Javaris said, "Coach, we're all right. We're all right, Coach." And it kind of hit me wrong, as Javaris does me sometimes, and I said, "I don't want to hear that we're okay. I just want you to do what we're telling you to do." And so we had a zone blitz package, and he dropped back into coverage and picked it and went and scored. So he came to the sideline, and of course I had to get the last shot in, and I said, "Okay, you see what happens when you do it the way we tell you to do it." So we had a lot of fun together, or at least I hope we had fun together. And so it was. He's made some big plays this year, big time, and he had a good ball game. And we had several defensive people. Jacob Coleman had an unbelievable ball game. Ian Jacob shut down, for all intent and purposes, their big wide receiver that scored 11 touchdowns this year. And between those three, of course, their supporting cast, because you can't do it without a whole lot of help, was pretty big breakthrough day for us defensively yesterday.
Carson-Newman picks up the victory over Newberry. We bring you the second half highlights.
First and 10 Eagles from their own 47. Thomas under center, split backfield. Gives to Baker. Baker slips out of a tackle in Newberry territory at the 45. Baker racing between the hashes, moving to his left. 15, 10, 5 for the end zone. Touchdown, Carson-Newman. Murden in the gun, with Elmore to his right, 4 wide set. Elmore hit as he throws. It is picked off by one of the linemen. Javaris Neal has it. Neal racing along the numbers left side. Neal will sprint for the touchdown. Oh boy! Javaris Neal with a 42-yard interception return.
The Carson-Newman Eagles have a stable of young coaches. Running backs coach Nick Revez, quarterbacks coach Alex Good, assistant defensive line coach Zach Fleming, and wide receivers coach Derek Rang are all in their first season. Safeties coach and special teams coordinator Dino Waits is in his 4th season in Mossy Creek after graduating in 2009. Each coach has a different story for the beginning of their coaching career. Revez was a 3-time academic All-SEC selection at the University of Tennessee and spent time selling insurance at his father's business before a speech from a former NFL head coach inspired him to pick up the phone.
I went to the FCA banquet last November with my wife, Brittany, and we went and we heard Dan Reeves speak. And he gave his testimony. And growing up, I always thought coaching, quite honestly, was for people who didn't get their high playing, and we're trying to relive the game. And so, but I heard his testimony, how he, the impact that players had on his life and the impact for Christ that he had on the players' lives. And that's when I really thought about, wow, maybe coaching's something that I want to do. Maybe that's something that the Lord's calling me to do. So me and Brittany started praying about it. And long story short, we reached out to Coach Sparks. He invited me up here and sat in on a couple staff meetings last January. And me and Brittany prayed about it and felt like this is exactly where we're supposed to be. And So this is where we are, and it couldn't be any happier.
While Fleming, Good, and Waits played for the Eagles, Rang has had a lot to learn after spending last season as the head coach at Powell High School.
Going from teaching 3 math classes a day and kind of running a high school program to going to a very successful Division II program that's won a lot of football games and has a strong tradition and a strong Christian culture. So I guess from the football side of it is a little bit different. You're dealing with a lot more mature, a lot better athletes on the football field, and college football has its own set of issues, but it is quite a bit different. But I'm learning and trying to do the best job I can here at Carson-Newman.
Ask any of the young coaches what is the one thing that surprised them the most about coaching, and they will respond simply with preparation. Waits is in charge of the team's equipment and speaks to the endless hours of shining helmets on top of his daily routine.
As a player, I thought I was doing a lot for football. And then I became a coach, and I was like, oh, I'm not doing anything as a player. So it's like you realize as a coach, I mean, you're here before the players get here, and you're here after they leave. But that's all a part of it, and that's, you understand, I understand it now. The reason why as a player everything worked so good for us was because we had coaches here that were doing stuff before we got here, and then after we left, they were still doing stuff to get ready. So that's probably the biggest eye-opener, I guess, growing thing for me as a coach.
Fleming is currently coaching several of his teammates from 1 year ago. It has been a great asset for the players to come to him and express what is happening on the field. The same can be said for the balance of the youth and veteran leadership on the coaching staff.
It's a good support system because they kind of are in the same, we're all in the same boat trying to figure this thing out and how to do it to the best of our abilities. And then we've got a great older group to look to and learn from. And so it's this great, a great balance of great minds teaching us, and then young minds with new ideas and energy, trying to bounce those off and figure out what's good and what's not. And it's just a great support system and learning environment.
Put aside the aspirations of the coaches in terms of job status, and there is a common theme between the group. Rivez said that he is blessed to have the talent at running back and has worked hard to gain the trust of his players.
The biggest thing I want to be able to do is relate with them, and hopefully they do respect me as far as being a coach, that they'll listen. But I know something just from being a player, that respect, sometimes it's not always just given, it has to be earned. So and a big thing I believe in relationships, just period, in life, whether it's in football or outside of football, is you got to show someone that you care about them before you can speak a hard word towards them or to them, and something that'll make them better but might just be a little bit hard. So the biggest thing I want my guys to know, and anyone, is that I care about them and that I genuinely have their best interest in mind, whether I'm praising them or whether I'm trying to tell them something to do better. So that's the biggest thing I hope they understand, is that I care about them.
A couple weeks ago, Ken Sparks called Waits one of the highest level individuals he has ever been around. His response to his ultimate goal as a coach demonstrates that praise.
I don't really have, like a goal to be the next head coach here or there or wherever, I just want to be the best coach that God wants me to be. And with that being said, I know that I have to be making some kind of eternal impact on my players. And so that's what I really measure my coaching ability off of, is am I affecting these players that is going to have some kind of lasting effect. And so that's really the biggest thing that I focus on, probably. That's my biggest goal. And so as long as I'm doing that, I can be at the middle school, I can be at the big time, everybody call it the big time. I'm always in the big time because that's what I'm looking to do.
Good believes that he needs to express to his players about life after football. It has been an important theme since his playing days, and one that he continues to strive to reach.
The most important thing is to have a relationship with Christ and just to know that when football is done, the only thing that you're going to be able to hold on to is a relationship with God. And I think when they get that, they'll become more than just good football players. And that's something that I try to teach the young quarterbacks here, just try to still teach myself, that this is only going to last for a short while, but relationship with God will last forever.
Well, thank you very much, Michael Wattrang and Ken. What a fun group of people for your Eagle Spotlight to be involved with, your youthful coaches. What's it mean to be surrounded by a bunch of, let's call them under 30s, by and large, who have buy in so much to what this program is about and loving Jesus Christ?
Well, and that's the key, is the fact that they are so strong spiritually that they're contagious. I mean, they're just contagious people. And they've got something that I love for other guys to get infected by, and that's a good dose of a relationship with our Lord and Savior. And so he's blessed those guys, and they're good football coaches. And if these guys will listen to them, they'll learn a whole lot from them, because they've been where they are, and not long ago. And have been through a whole lot of the same processes that they're going through right now, trying to decide, what's going to be the basis of my life, what's going to be the foundation, what am I going to put my faith in that will never let me down. And so, he's the rock, and thank goodness that we got some guys that are basing their life on the rock, and some of them got a rock head, and what a great combination. I mean, they keep things going around here, and they're a major key of our success, no question.
It is the final week of the regular season next week, and your club is still playing for something on the road to Wingate with berth in the playoffs, still in the hunt for your club. Wingate's beaten you 3 times in a row, and a team has never defeated a Ken Sparks coached club 4 consecutive years.
3, they'd never had 3 until last year,
Yeah.
so I'd rather you not talk about it, start spreading those kind of things around.
I've just got to remind you from time to time.
I understand, and we've earned all 3 of them, and I'm not sure I've earned them, because I have made some unbelievable calls, just like last year against Wingate. I really lost a ball game for us, and by some really poor coaching decisions, and so that one was on me, and it's time for us to win a ball game that is very important to us, and what's going to be interesting to see if we can take it 2 weeks in a row of raising our level at a greater point, and it's the time of year that we need to do that. So I hope we can.
Ken, pleasure as always. Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, stopping by. Thank you for get in on the Adam Cavalier show. Thank you.
This has been this has been the Ken Sparks Show. He's the coach of the Eagles, Ken Sparks. I'm the voice of the Eagles, Adam Cavalier. Thanks for watching.